Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Hmm.
Yeah, it wasn't clear to me whether we could, but we do have we have our enough members to do the meeting. So um this is the November 17th, 2025 Nesquin Community Plan Steering Subcommittee meeting, and welcome. I see we have Floyd Wise and Nancy are public visitors today. I mean, Nancy's head of bylaws committee as well. Lynn Saxton, Guy Sievert, Lori Kovac, and myself, Randall Cook, as is the host. So we have some minutes to approve, and hope you all got a chance to read those. So do we have any edits, or may we approve of the minutes as submitted? Committee members,
Approved.
Guy?
Approved.
Approved.
Okay, and I approve. So, okay, immediate minutes are approved. Any conflict of interest declarations for today's meeting and the agenda? I
No.
saw,
No, no conflict.
Guy?
Nope.
Okay, nor do I. So no conflicts of interest by committee members. Um, so we are in the process of reviewing the first, I don't know what, if this is really a draft. So we're looking today at a portion of the community plan that has some edits in it, and we've just heard from Guy about an organizing methodology which would involve uh, focusing on the five values that are outlined as and indicating those as the main values, and sort out a way as we uh, list the values as they are in the document that the community uh, put forth in all the meetings and everything, and we got into formal form, we would also include policies in that section as to where beginning, the end, after each value maybe is listed. If there's an appropriate policy that matches that, we might put it right, insert it there. So we're trying to sort out this structure. Guy is the only one who has been reviewing this with Tom uh, at this point besides Sarah. And since Tom is not available today, we are sorting out what we can do and sharing the document on the screen and going through our method of doing this. Now, I didn't see this document till I believe it was yesterday. Um, we had planned to have the first redraft of the structure of the document, but with Tom's uh, being in hospital, we don't, he can't get to his computer even when he's at home. It's up too many stairs to get to in his condition. So we're we're doing what we can with what we have in front of us today. It's not exactly clear how much um, content we're going to mess around with. It's more kind of a determining or fine tuning the structure with the values so that the policies can be integrated in that section if that really works. And also, what would we put in the appendix? We were just talking about that. We would put
Well,
the
I think, Rand, if the committee is okay with that general, what you just reviewed, that
approach.
general sense of organization, there will be things that if I can go through this, this week, and I figure out it's not my PDF document. I like to work also not in edit in PDF. I'll have to convert it to something else. But if the committee's if I can get something out in a week or so uh, to the committee, there will be areas in which each of the members of the committee can add things like, we talked about, as an example, one of the community characters of our community is the volunteerism and participation in community, for lack of a better term, governance, but direction, whatever. And as reflected in the NCAC, that is certainly a policy of the counties, which will include, but there's also the volunteerism, we've all listed different organizations. And so when I talk about what's current, people might have some other ideas and can add into that. And then what are we looking at in the future? We've talked as a committee about some things. We've heard from the community in general about some things they would like to see. Whatever it is we put, obviously, that has to go before the whole community for a vote and the NCAC for a vote to approve to put forward. So if people think that structure works, I can work as I'm looking at the document that Tom sent you. I don't think he had an opportunity really to work on it much over the weekend.
Would you like me
Uh,
to update you on Tom on his health
Sure,
situation?
that would be
If he's,
helpful.
well,
I've been,
nothing that would be
yeah,
any
no, he's
violation of
okay.
it.
No, he's okay with it. So I could share. So he's doing well now. He's still at OHSU, but he's hoping to be discharged tomorrow.
Oh, good.
And so I think our bylaws subcommittee meeting on Friday morning may have done him in, but he went to the emergency room that afternoon. So Guy, I think he had tried to incorporate what you had sent him, which he appreciated a lot. He thought you had some terrific input, as much as he could, but he has not been able to do anything since Friday.
Well,
But I think he's
let me
looking
work
good
and
for, I think he'll be ready to start working on it again
okay.
later this week with you.
Okay. If everyone is okay in general with that direction and everyone's okay with Tom and I working on that together and bringing it hopefully to the next meeting. Uh, if there are things that we think you could, that we could use your input, well, I guess we better be careful about asking that with not an official meeting. But if everyone's okay with Tom and I working on it, that'd be great. Um,
And
So
I
we-
think your next meeting's December 5th, right? So with Thanksgiving and everything, it sounds like that would be a good timing for
yeah,
looking at the next draft. I think he was saying that he had put this together as kind of an example of the format, taking one value and showing how it would work the way you all wanted it formatted,
yeah,
with policies highlighted the way Sarah wants done, but she hasn't reviewed this. But at least,
yeah,
you take it by one value, just see if you like the format, and then if you do, then he and Guy would do the other values to have for the December meeting for you guys to
yeah.
review.
Right, and then we were just speaking of it was the ordinances that we're talking about maybe leaving those in the appendix and having so this way the values would be there, the policies that are connected to those are listed so that as the reader goes through each section, they have both the values and the policies that pertain to those. Um,
Can I
so
say, Brand, can I
yeah, go ahead.
say something? Boy, the climate on changes in ordinance language, and requirements that will trigger a Measure 56 notice and a potential Measure 49 claim. Climate for the county to take these on has really changed since Lynn and I first presented our recommendations for change. Um, I think I mentioned at a previous meeting that the city of Oceanside had changes that we're going to require a Measure 56 notice, and the county agreed to bring that forward and defend if there was any claim in some of the changes. And they did that, and as I think I mentioned before, based on the opinion of Dan Kearns, who's the county's land use attorney, who felt that the requirements to prove a Measure 49 claim were so stringent and so limited that the things that people were asking for just weren't going to happen. They weren't realistic for a claim. Since then, at a planning commission hearing this, what's the last week, Thursday, the community of Neocani came forward, and I think this will be very interesting to all of us who work so hard on the Senate Bill 406. The community of Neocani proposed they adopted with some minor tweaks Senate Bill all the middle housing, and then they changed their lot coverage and the ratio between lot coverage and floor space formulas from having no lot coverage minimum or no maximum. They had none. They just had setbacks to 30% lot coverage. And this triggered a Measure 56 claim, which the county has brought forward. And of course, they brought forward this with the Senate Bill middle housing things. So lots that, so you can imagine if that was the case in Nescoin, a 5,000 or even 7,500 square foot lot, which is a lot of the lots that we have, between 5 and 7,500, 30% coverage, what that would do to middle housing in terms of how it would restrict what can really be built, whether it's cottage clusters or duplex, quadruplex, whatever plex you want to name. And this is my opinion as a planning commissioner, an attempt to negate to prevent any changes in the community
To
that
facilitate middle housing.
would take middle housing.
Hmm.
So it was an interesting 4-hour discussion hearing. Actually, the hearing went longer. I think it went 4 hours to the first break or something. But the county brought it forward and was willing to defend it.
Whoa.
So based on what I've heard from the county attorney on this, based on what I've now seen in 2 cases where the county seems to be willing to defend a Measure 56 and Measure 49 claim, I'd like us to go back and revisit those recommendations that Lynn and I brought forward a year ago. And essentially, many of the things were, we want to prioritize housing in our residential zones.
Right.
I mean, simple things. We have a more defensible position given the county's own comprehensive plan to increase housing density than a community that says we're going to go from no lot coverage maximum to 30%, and do it for purposes that let's just say, were dubious, in my opinion, at best. I'm sure they would have other thoughts. Um, I think there was also expression that they were trying to prevent McMansions being built on their lots, and this was a way to cut down building mass in their community, which you would think would certainly trigger more Measure 56 claims than saying we have a priority of housing.
So Guy, does
Yes,
this affect the thing that was approved by Nesquin for SB 406? Or is
I
this
don't think we can go
in the
back.
community plan?
I don't think we can go back.
Right. That's
And,
kind of,
if we knew, this is my opinion, if we knew that the county would be willing to bring forward such restrictions as lot coverage in order and use that as one tool to protect the community, the sense of community and what kinds of structures would be in different zones, and maybe even changing some of our zones a little bit, and what we would see in those zones. But we just accepted the 70% coverage, which is the current coverage for Nescoin, which, as we all know, allowed for a whole lot of creative things, and that's great. But that was a tool that wasn't, to use that in one way or another to kind of shape our community and what could be built where was not allowed. And I don't think we can go back. I think the county would just not do that. But
so
there are things that I think we can
effect.
propose that I would hope that the county would bring forward.
So between the consultant and,
Rand,
yeah,
that I think we have to think about and talk about within that context is it's very difficult over time to track what the county is going to be willing to back with their legal counsel. And so, and over the course of this process, and particularly in doing that major sidestep of work for middle housing, and given the fact that we recommend this to the CAC and they can adjust it further, entirely their prerogative, because they have to, this report is owned by them, and I don't know what liability insurance they carry, if any. But it's very difficult to think about going back to the things when Guy and I were talking about things, it was before the middle housing discussion. And it was, why do we have things in residential areas that are really inappropriate farm and forest uses? It was to clean up the language of the previous document. And we're way past that language now. Although, Guy, I'm sure you agree there's still some cleaning up to do. But there's kind of several steps here. And certainly the CAC would want to ask the county point blank before submitting a document that the county's commitment to supporting defending these claims is intact. Because it has changed over time. We've been doing this is our third year, and they've changed. And at one point, part of my strong urgency for getting this done, wrapped up, and nailed was because the county's in flux, in part because the state is in flux with its current status of federal funding, like all states in the country right now. So I'm just saying that, one, the CAC will want to be conscious of what commitments they have or can expect. And two, we'll want to look at what we would want to get cleaned up or what is new policy and could or could not provoke the standards for these reviews. And that's going to be beyond our capacity as a subcommittee because the CAC owns that once they document it. So that's just you know, we need to be
Lynn,
mindful of the further steps in the sequence and the timeline in the sequence.
Lynn, I think that we'll know in this committee once Sarah gets back and involved, what she will be willing to bring forward. And
Well, but remember, there's another step in here. The CAC reviews
sure,
what we submit to them,
sure.
and then she needs to also, she has to get authority for the county taking defense responsibility.
And I
That's
think
a,
in
that's a
my
case.
sense is, Lynn, that the commissioners, the county commissioners, you're right, and that the county commissioners have to approve bringing forward any recommendations coming out of an unincorporated community, any recommendations that would trigger a Measure 56 notice.
Right.
So she's the one that brings it to the county commissioners.
Right.
And I can say that they generally they generally support what she believes. And she'll tell us in this process that we're in right now, before we even go, she won't let, and this is my opinion again, she won't let us go to the CAC, the whole CAC,
Membership.
without having a sense of whether the county is whether she will even recommend to the county commissioners
Right.
to go forward with this. So
Yeah.
I think we'll know.
I just want the CAC to understand their responsibility here.
Oh, yeah.
It's significant.
Yeah.
So, in what we've discussed so far in the meeting, we're looking at Guy trying to, well, if Tom's back in action to some degree,
I can work with them.
then you can work with him to continue to work on the structure.
Yeah.
Because we were thinking by now we would have the structure of the document reoriented, and then we were going to go through it. The
Yeah.
focus on the values, vision and values, and the integrating the policies with that is the biggest
Yeah.
punch in the whole document. And so that I guess what I'm trying to understand is if we can working with what we have, this portion of the document, we can certainly review this as subcommittee members and see if there's things, if we want to work on any of the things individually. But I think we would want to wait until we see what the structure is before integrating or doing any editing
Right.
outside of our own work. And then
Makes
when
sense.
structure exists, we can start sharing those with Tom again, citing line and page, and adding to whatever we can add to when we see that structure is in place.
And I can say that there are, if you go through what you've got, what Tom sent you, Rand, I mean, there's a lot of little edits,
Right.
And just don't pay attention to those yet because, he's not paying attention to them yet. We're just trying to get the structure down.
Okay.
And, if we have an opportunity before the next meeting to kind of clean up some of the little things, that we'll do that. But the most important thing is to get everything in the right place.
Right.
And we'll work on that. And what I'm thinking of doing is right now we've got all these ordinance recommendations in an appendix, I think. And we may want to integrate them into the document under our values. We'll see. We'll see how that looks. But anyways,
Sounds like a
everybody's
challenging
okay with that.
structure.
That's fine. Yeah.
Would it help if you just kind of went through the structure really quickly, Guy? Because I think what Tom did was take one value. He had the introduction, took one value, and just so that you could see the structure.
Yeah.
So the one value is the community character here
Right.
that Rand has up, and then he has the values listed, and then the different policies associated with. So all of that document, starting with this, I think is
Structure.
showing that one value and how it would be laid out.
Yeah, my thing with Tom was I just my definition of and use of the term character in this is a little different.
Right.
I think in my email to him I reworded it as community participation or something like that.
And that might be fine. I think if you did it
Yeah.
on Friday, I doubt he saw it.
Yeah. Anyways, so that's
So
what so
if you wanted
the
to change that to whatever, don't worry about the title. Just I think
yeah,
he's
yeah.
looking
And so
at
and
formatting.
forget the numbering too, because
Hmm.
that would might change. But so you can see in general, we would talk about what's current. First of all, what we mean by what Nescoin means by community for his term, character, mine, involved in community involvement, participation, whatever. And we would define what we kind of mean by that, kind of when a community where people feel committed and responsible to participate, and that's encouraged. And then talk about all the where that's already prevalent in our community, the various organizations and all those kinds of things we've talked about forever. But keep going, scrolling down, Rand. And then, so we would
So,
do that. And
so
then,
Guy, before you go on with that, there's a big difference between involvement and character. And so perhaps both need to be discussed if we're going to use two different words, because there is a character to Nescoin that is distinct. And it has to do with, whether it's skinny sidewalks, it's a whole host of, and character may be the wrong word, but it's
yeah,
different than just involvement.
no, I get that. And
There's an
we don't want to
aesthetic,
lose that.
there's a vibe, there's a
Right.
pick whatever, but there's a feel to Nescoin. The most common thing people take away from Nescoin is that it really feels distinct in
Mhm.
terms of not being commercial, etc. So just footnote that for clarification, because it's very different from just involvement.
No, we get that. And
Yeah. So I think we could all think about these things, and if we can come up with words, we can, in these general big categories of the values, if we have thoughts that seem to grab us as more accurate, I think it's worth sharing at
just
least
send to
some of
Tom
that
and I.
information before we get back together
Yeah,
in
over the next
a
week or
month
so
or
before
whatever.
our next meeting, if you have
Yeah.
some specific thoughts, send them to Tom and I.
And I think Tom will probably give us a schedule of saying, okay, we hope to get to this in the next 10 days, and then we'll send you a copy and we'll be looking for specific edits. So
Right.
I'm hesitant to do anything before I see the structure come together, but I definitely can take my own notes about things or ideas that I have, so that when the time comes, I've been waiting for, just a document to look at. And so this is the first glimpse we have, and to get a sense of how it might
Hope stop. So
go.
if you go back to here, the policy number one actually does fit nicely within this community value,
Mm-hmm.
because it talks about the NCAC, something that in fact is kind of one of the organizing features as far as the county is concerned, for community participation. It's what's called for in goal one of the
Mm-hmm.
state land use goals, all those kinds of things. So that fits that particular.
Good. And while we're starting out
And
right, we
same with
got
policy,
something that
community
fits.
involvement. So that's where the integration, in this case, the next couple policy statements, that kind of fit. But so keep going down.
So, Guy, do you, just in terms of process here, do you want us to, I mean, the I assume you and Tom don't want 4 sets of edits each round
No,
that
no.
would change the verbiage. So to me, I think we should talk about the next step that you and he have, which occurs before December 5th. And if that can go out before December 5th, which is tight with Thanksgiving scheduled, then we can consolidate edits and just do it as we've done it in the past, kind of looking at it on the screen and saying, tweak here, edit there, what about this?
Yeah.
Because otherwise, I think we'll all just keep writing. And I don't think we want that. I think we want to focus the edits on what you and Tom are going to produce for that meeting.
I think if you, Lynn, you just said a few minutes ago that you made a statement about the character of Nescoin. And if you want to just like put that in a paragraph and something, I mean, it gives us just something for me anyways, as we go through it, those kinds of things are always good to have. Not that I'm trying to incorporate your statement into the document. It may be some of it, maybe all of it, or it may be we do it in a different way, but it's just good to have that
Well,
input. In my mind, I don't know about Tom, but
I think the last community plan has verbiage, and I apologize. My copy of that plan is in Portland, and I'm in Nescoin, or it's in Vancouver, and I'm in Nescoin.
yeah,
But had the statement that stood up for 20 or 30 years, and I'm fine with that statement, with maybe a few word changes to modernize. So
yeah,
I'll find that, but it's already been written and it's been embraced. I mean, it came out of those meetings we had last winter. So I'll find it. It's the one that people kind of mention the most, is that things feel different here, but I'll go back and dig that up. I've got it on my desk.
I think as you scroll down, you may see some of that verbiage too. Like here between the policies, there's verbiage about this. I think what Tom was
Yep, there you
asking
go.
is, do you like the format? And
Right.
for this example value, so that then he and Guy could go back and do the other values or format. He just only did the one for time and just wanted to make sure you liked the direction it was going.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so guys, with these policies and then the verbiage in between, how does that work? Is it the value, we see the value, the policy, and then the verbiage in between? How do you envision that?
All right, so you're looking at policy number what, 5 here?
Yeah.
And how does that fit within community participation? And it if we're going to do this, I mean, in general, if we can come up with policies that fit within the value statements, but I'm not sure though. I haven't been through all the policy statements. My initial look last week was not all of these will fit. And that's why my first request to Tom is let's just pull them out, all the policy statements. But there may be ways to incorporate them, and I don't know. That's
So, so let's
one.
use a concrete example there. The character of Nesco has always been to minimize commercial and industrial development. So that's discussed in lines 6 through 9, and then codified in policy 5, which would come under the character of Nesco. It wouldn't come under community involvement, but it comes under the vibe piece. So to me, to start cutting out now before it's an organized document is fraught.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not
Because
suggesting we cut anything out. I'm just saying that
oh,
I think we've
okay,
got to. No, we can't cut the policies out. They're going to be in.
okay,
Sarah
okay,
gave us those policies. We got to put them in.
okay, good.
So it's
All
just a
right,
matter of finding where. That's all.
okay, thank you.
Yeah, I think I guess as far as feedback is concerned, I think we can make it as functional as possible. And this does work to have the policies of that are the county things and things that are set down as policies interspersed as appropriate as possible with with the values that were laid out and integrated from this whole effort with the community to get input. So I think that the boxes really kind of help this is this and this is that. Uh, so I think visually and the way it reads, it works pretty well.
Okay.
So I would encourage you guys to keep going, and I think we'll pour over what we have in front of us to understand if how we feel about what we have. But I mean, in general, I would say keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just, yeah, because if all of this is going to stay in and it's just going to move around, I think that's fine. We can navigate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like he was trying to satisfy having the policies out there where Sarah can find them easily. And I think in his table of contents at the end, he has a table of policies with links. I don't know if he has got the links going or not, but
Yeah.
so that she can find the policies she wants. But you guys have things laid out the way you wanted with explanation of the value tied then to the policies.
Right. It's what the community says and then what the public policy at the county is so that they can be tied in a decision that is being made. Uh, the citizens or the people who live here can see what they said, and the policies can articulate that in terms of how the county functions with that information. So
Remember the last meeting with Sarah where we kind of we were making the argument with Sarah that this community plan will contain more than just county requirements and
right,
things and even recommendations. It's going to be broad in scope and contain other things that we believe are important in our community, important to happen in the future, and those kinds of things. And I was surprised, I guess, and I know Sarah's job is to make sure the county stuff is covered. Fine. Uh, so how we structure this, uh, maybe to integrate the county stuff into the overall plan, maybe better. I don't know. I mean, but as long as the whole plan comes forward, including, I mean, certainly with the requirements that have to be in the plan, but also other things that we want. I was a bit surprised that she kind of pushed back on that a little bit.
well, I guess I haven't seen a lot of other community plans to see how they structured things, to see how they make those two work well together. Um,
And the
so,
more specific we can be, I mean, God knows, last Thursday, Neocani, we are unique, we're a community, we care about each other, we like the size of our current buildings. They came up with a formula. Here's how the Neocani had this formula. It looked like it came out of Richard Feynman's one of his classes.
Yeah.
And it was how we're going to
determine.
calculate building height and building mass. So what they did was they took 30 homes that they liked in Neocani that they thought were appropriate and represented the kind of community they wanted. And they went backwards to figure out what the formula would be that would produce those current homes. And then that was the formula which they were proposing that all future homes, all future structures would
Abide by.
abide by. So in a sense, they said, we like our community. we like the feel, we like the size, we don't like what's coming. And so we've come up with a way of restricting everything to essentially what we have right now, or to look like what we have now. So that was, and you can be sympathetic with that. I mean, you can say, yeah, it'd be nice. I mean, look at the discussions we had over SB 406. We were all
Right.
thinking, how is this going to change various places in our community? The concerns about even walking down one of our skinny streets and having mass walls facing the street, uh, why we were so concerned about window coverage, which we got turned away, by the way. Um, so yeah, this is how they did it, how Neocani did it. Um, so we all
Or
want
at
to.
least how they've done it to date, right? So it hasn't been implemented or approved yet. Is that correct?
So the Planning Commission voted 4-3 to approve what they were doing. You could probably guess who one of the three on the negative side was. So now it goes to the county commissioners and to see what they do, because it's a legislative text amendment. So the county commissioners are the only ones that can approve it. We just tell them what we think they should approve. So it was a 4-3 vote. One of the closer, it couldn't be any closer.
I'm
votes.
trying to I'm trying to think how I would feel if my house was not one of the houses that the people liked. I don't think that quite fits
Or
the Nesco vibe, but I think, I mean, I think all that time we spent on affordable housing that fed into the county's process that was approved by the county commissioners, I would I would caution us that if we're going to go back from there, we at
no,
least have to
No, we
think about,
can't.
yeah,
I don't think
I
we
don't
can.
think we can.
No,
So
No, but
no.
if we knew what we knew now, we
It
might have
may be
held
different, right? Exactly.
stuck with our guns
Yeah.
and said we think that this is important and this will make a difference in the quality of life for people. Yeah, I'm sorry that got the
But
consultants just took
one of the
out stuff
differences,
that they didn't like or were afraid of, and we got stuck with what we got stuck with.
but one of the differences, Ran, is one of our values here, even going into the SB 406, was affordable housing,
Right.
and that our community actually be made up of people who work here, people who retire here, people who whatever. We wanted a mixed community. We did not want a high-end
Monoculture.
retirement community only. It's kind of a monoculture place. So we addressed SB 406 as, okay, yeah, this kind of gets at one of our values. Maybe there's some things about the way it does and the way the housing gets structured and these whatever, we'd like to try to maintain the feel when you walk down the street, how the structures feel. So I think, but it was different for Neocani. That was not a value of theirs. They never said, oh, okay, yeah, Senate Bill 406, we got to take that. But here's how we're going to, in addition to add on to for the middle housing language, they had a whole separate thing to come forward. And one of the problems they had is they didn't have a CAC until recently.
Yeah, it's new to them.
It's new to them. And so they had a group called the Housing something or other. They came together and did this over the last 6 months.
They did
At
it
the
all
time when
without Tom
406
Bender.
Pardon?
They did it all without Tom Bender, who probably would have had a lot to say about this.
Well, and I think also that because the middle housing stuff it is way behind in terms of stated goals and execution. I don't think the litigation is done by a long shot. And so that's what will be interesting, is because, if if Neoconi's was approved, it went all the way through. Everyone said this is great. No litigation, no appeals, no LUBA board appeals.
Yeah.
People in Nesco might say, okay, well, let's go back and do what they did, because I'm not saying they would, but stranger things have happened.
Believe me, Lynn, that was a thought I had in my,
Yeah.
in my mind when I was sitting there. But
Yeah.
no one objected. 50 people signed a thing saying they supported it. Since they didn't have a CAC, the CAC, the new chair, came forward and said they in general supported it, but it didn't go through their process. They didn't really
Huh.
have a process.
Interesting.
But you know what? The next thing that's going to happen is that now who knows, as we all have said, things change at the state level. And we got an election at some point coming up. But the next thing that we hear coming out of DLCD is Sarah reported to our planning commission is that there's going to be production requirements. So it's one thing to say, here's what you have to allow. And she believes that the DLCD is going to come out with, now here are the goals that you have to meet in terms of producing middle housing by communities.
How
So,
does that happen without the county's financial ability to produce housing?
well, the county, it'll be just by regulation, I guess. I don't know, Lynn.
Developers.
It's going to be interesting how if DLCD comes out and says, okay, great, we've allowed for this stuff. Now, how are you, in fact, making it happen? And we're going to judge you based on how much you've made happen. Wow. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. And of course, you know that all these SB 406 was for all incorporated cities, and the one rider put in, and for unincorporated communities in Tillamook County.
But didn't Tillamook County ask for that, right?
Oh yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
that
Yeah,
was,
exactly.
Yep.
It was our housing commission folks. Yeah.
Okay, well, we've had a pretty thorough discussion of that. Um, it it seems like the work that the committee is to do at this point is to review what we have, which is a few pages here. 7, 10, 11.
But is this piece going to be redone for the December 5th meeting?
Well, it probably will be tweaked, but this is kind of the template that identifies how it will look. Content-wise, I guess I'm just going to read through everything and try to understand if I think anything could be stated more clearly, and keep that to myself until I see a structure that is then editable by the group.
Yeah.
So,
My
But
message from Tom was that if you guys like what he and Guy did with value number 3, the community value down below,
Right.
they would do that then with the remaining 4 values. So
right.
And I think the question is for Lori, because I think this was Lori's idea, to move to this format. And so, Lori, does it meet what you had hoped for?
Well, this has yes, the general approach meets what I had in mind. It doesn't necessarily have our recommendations, because I was thinking that we have the value. There's going to be actions that the community takes that the county has nothing to do with, because they're volunteer based, they're community based. And then and Sarah wanted the policies there. I think that's great. So I guess I don't remember getting this yesterday, but I also have been
Today. You got it
in
today.
transit.
It was
I
sent
sent
Saturday.
it, well, I
Came
just sent
in
it
on
out a
Rand
couple,
today, this
like
afternoon.
2
Yeah,
hours ago.
so I haven't read it. I've only
Yeah,
observed it during this
meeting,
message, this
right.
meeting. But yes, it addresses. I like it a lot better than the previous draft. I think it's it's going in the right direction. That's my answer.
Okay. So
And so Lori, if there's things that you thought you would see when talking about community involvement and the character of the community, those issues and actions that would pertain to those, the recommendations part, think about how you would want, where and how you would see and experience those as a reader in this context. Would they fit here? How could they fit here? What would they look like given this format? Would it be a different kind of a box or, I don't know. I'm just trying to think because it sounds like you still are not seeing the things that you'd like, that you think energize the community. When they read a plan, here's who we are and here's some examples to indicate that. And here's a policy that represents this from our community and how it would be used at the county. Where are the recommendations of the actions that might be taken that we felt we heard from the community wanted? If you could, maybe you can advise about where they would fit or how they would fit in this kind of a format, or if not, where they would be. Would there be a section that reviews the values and includes the recommendations as a totally different section? So I think,
So I guess it goes back to my concept that this document has two purposes. One is to engage the community in what we can do for ourselves. And the other is to engage the county on how they can support us to make our community be the way we want. And also to just make it clear to our community how we have to fit within the county system. So that goes both ways. And so I guess rather than, I guess in an ideal world, I would love to see, to me, the policies are what the county's doing. And also, I would like to make it clear that we're encouraging the community to also take action to support these values, and the actions that are appropriate right now may be working on a bridge from South Beach to the
right,
village
connecting the
side,
two. Yeah.
connecting the two, or whatever. And um, and we don't know what in the future is going to be the things the community needs to work on. But these are the ones that we immediately identify and engage the community to work towards. So that it's clear that there's some things we're counting on the county to do, there's some things we can do for ourselves, and to inspire actions for grant writing or whatever that supports getting these things done.
I think that's a really important part of this, and I kind of don't see it in this section represented. And I think that distinction between what we can do for ourselves and what the county needs to do with things, how it uses this is a valuable distinction so that people don't feel limited by this as to what the county can do and feel empowered to do some things that we most likely will have to do in collaboration or on our own.
Rand,
So,
those will come, Rand. I
yeah,
mean, we're not, when we address those five values, it will include things both that
or
that the county
recommended.
is requiring and also that we as a community want and recommend, things that
Okay,
we want to see. So yeah, no, it'll fit.
Okay.
okay,
Yeah.
I don't see
So
them,
then I
so
think
I'm
it'll be
just
great.
trying to understand.
Yeah.
Because I think those are really important. That's a really important distinction when people read this, say, to understand that distinction between what the county needs and what they're going to do and the things that we're aspiring to, and we're going to have to pull ourselves up and get it done, however that happens.
And there
So,
might be things that are joint.
yeah,
We have to
no,
do
I'm
Yeah.
jointly.
saying collaboratively. I mean,
Again,
that's,
you look at our road situation
yeah,
and the beach access situation. I
yeah,
mean, those things are going to have to be done
collaboratively.
collaboratively.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
no,
I'm not thinking of it as an either or. I
right.
just want to make sure that the plan inspires people to say, "Oh, this is our plan. Let's take action. How can I fit in?" Um, rather
Here's
than
something.
just like, "Oh, this is a plan. They wrote it up. Let's put it on the shelf. It doesn't have anything to do with me."
Right.
I think some
So
of
that,
it's covered too under these concerns you're mentioning are covered under the introduction and the vision sections that are
Hmm.
up further up, items 1 and 2, before you get into the values.
in the introduction, right. Okay, well, I think gotten a pretty good understanding of this and what we can encourage Tom and Guy to continue working on so that when we next see it, that structure has even greater articulation on each different value. And um, and then we can start working on it uh, again. I think um, I think we're poised to get back into the work, but it does require the restructuring in order to have it all hold together. And we don't want to bombard Tom with a bunch of stuff before he's ready to put it in place. So I think we can look forward to reviewing the document before too long and then have a better idea of what the work that needs to be done. As I say, I think reading this through a number of times just to remind ourselves of all the work that's been done already will be helpful. And so that we'll be ready when the document is ready for more work.
So I just want to be clear because I checked. Our next meeting is, maybe I just heard this wrong because I have a cold, is December 1st, not December 5th.
No,
I was
well,
December
looking.
5th is a Friday.
okay. I have it on the first.
Yep, that's what I
Oh,
have.
it just moved. Don't do that, Rand. Um, yeah, the fifth, I don't have it on the fifth. I have
Okay,
it
so
on
it
the
is the
first
first.
Oh, it
and
is the first. Sorry, it's
And that's a
January 5th.
question for Tom and Guy in terms of their collaboration and the deadline.
yeah, it's 10 days or 15 days or so. Um, okay, well, oh, there's Susan. Hi, Susan. It looks like you're on Cascade Head, but I suspect you're not.
I wish, and I have public comment when you open it up. It's totally unrelated to community plan, but relative to Nesquin so
Okay, let me get clarity on this date. So we're December 1st, and then I thought we had two dates, but
You have January 5th, at least from the
oh, it's
minutes.
January 5th. Okay, so um, when uh, when Tom is ready for action, he can respond and see if that December 1st is a realistic
Right.
meeting time. We may have to shift it, but I would definitely like to meet before January 5th
Yeah.
if we can. But I'm realistic that it might not be real uh, for the work to be ready by then. So that's a worthwhile note. Is that
Do you want to move it a week just to be on the safe side?
I think it's really a question of if Nancy, do you think Tom will be ready on December? I mean, do you think Tom will be returning home and ready to go. The issue before was access to his computer, which is upstairs. And I don't want to pressure him. And it is
Right.
December, right? So people already have a lot already on their calendars.
Right.
It's hard to tell. He sounded really good when I talked to him today.
Good.
But,
And we have
I think the
Thanksgiving.
test results were a lot more positive than he was expecting. So,
Oh, good.
but I do think, having another week might be safer,
Yeah.
if that didn't put you guys out too much.
Especially with Thanksgiving in there.
Right.
Well, I don't think it's that difficult for us to move a meeting a week to the 8th. Does anyone have a major conflict with that?
What about Sarah?
Well, yeah, Sarah didn't, she thought this was going to be a different time also. She thought it was going to be
Well,
last week.
but I
So,
think we can, even if Sarah can't make it, I think if we come out of the next meeting with pretty much the structure done, um, we don't need Sarah for that.
uh-huh,
That would be, not that if she could come, that's great, but I just think that our focus is
internal.
internal with
Yeah.
this document.
So
Okay.
if we move the meeting from December 1st to December 8th, that's great. Same time, same bat channel, 4 to 6.
Yeah.
After that, I have zero availability
Right.
the rest
Well,
of the month.
yeah, no, I think it's either the 1st or the 8th.
Yeah.
And I would be willing to ask Tom and then make the change based on his reading of himself, rather than do it without talking to him.
Yep.
But and it's easy to move the date, I think, for most of us. Uh, but I'd kind of like to do it based on Tom's assessment.
Yes, I agree.
Um,
So do you want to check with him, you or Nancy or Guy, and just send us an email on which we're going to do? And I agree with Guy that we can do it without Sarah.
So I just texted him. I'm sorry if I'm out of line here, but he said that would be great to move it.
Oh, he just
Great.
said move it to the 8th?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you for,
Perfect. Thank you, Nancy.
that's great. Okay, so the meeting is moved to the 8th. I'll let Candace know. I'll copy in Lynn so she gets Candace's email.
Thank you.
Okay, change to the 8th and we'll base things on that. Um, let me see.
That's expensive plus the piano.
Okay.
Exactly.
Any more business before we find out what mystery Susan is going to reveal to us? We all good with the new date and I don't hear anything. So what do you have to share with us, Susan?
Okay, so I learned just today that there were 4 incidents that happened in Nescoin last night that were reported to the sheriff.
Whoa.
So anyone who is currently in Nescoin, there was a fuel line that was punctured on a car and gas was stolen on Salem Avenue. There was a car broken into at Corvallis and Hawk. Mary Gifford, her house, her car, the gas tank was open. I'm not familiar with the other 2 incidents, but on our street, we're keeping all our lights, our porch lights on. And so just spread the word. It's very shocking to have 4 incidents reported to the sheriff from last night alone, and there may be more.
That's a bummer.
How strange.
I know. So I wish I had something better to say, but I'd rather people know about it.
Sure.
There's a crime map, and I don't know, Susan, where you you got that. I
Just
checked.
going in friends and just walking, talking to the people in the village.
There's an I don't know if it's an app that I get that one of the options is to check a crime map for the local, I didn't check it this morning. And I feel bad, but I just checked it like 2 days ago for Nescoin, and we had like 3 medical emergencies
Oh,
in the Nescoin area within like 3 or 4 days.
okay.
Uh, so that's been the thing I see most. There was and Rand, you remember that car that was right there at the corner of
Slab Creek.
Slab Creek
Mhm.
and 101 that they found somebody in there unconscious, and that was a week ago, 10 days
Okay.
ago, or a while back. And there's been some weird activity around.
Yeah.
Seems that things have been happening, but
That's the thing you
Hmm.
can say, say is that
let's see if we can put
these things, you know, the other.
somehow share that crime map. I don't know. We'll have to figure it out.
Okay. And Floyd Wise was with us today, but we haven't heard from him. Floyd, thanks for joining us. And if you have anything to share, this is the public comment moment of the of our meeting today. But not hearing from him. I can say
Rand, could I have one more public
Sure.
comment as a public person? Uh, I don't know if and I'd like the executive committee, CAC executive committee to talk about this, but as we all know, and out here in front of us in Nescoin, during crab season, we can have 10, 15, whatever crab boats at any one time. And of course, we all benefit from that because that crab ends up in places that we get pretty easily. But the Coast Guard just announced that they're removing the helicopter from Newport down to North Bend. And I know there's an organization in Newport called the Fishermen's Wives that is organizing. I think it's almost like the second or third time over that the Coast Guard has talked about pulling out emergency response people from Newport. But the folks that fish right off our shore, as you can imagine, it's between now the closest any kind of emergency service is either Astoria or North Bend rather than Newport. I don't know. When I was reading the story today, it was making me feel that. I mean, as we all know, we look out over, during crabbing season, we see all those boats out there. It would feel much better if we knew that they were somehow had better protection.
I
But,
think Fishermen's Wives was put together by a woman who actually used to live in Nesco and moved to Newport, and she lost, I think, her husband and her son in an accident, and she was
Oh,
one of the
dear.
people who made sure it didn't leave Newport. And she's passed since, but the organization still exists.
it would
So
be
there is
nice.
a personal connection to.
It would be nice though if our CAC, and I don't think we'd have to have a vote or anything, but to send a letter in support to the Coast Guard in support of, and maybe contacting the Fishermen's Wives to say, I mean, not only these people fish right off our beach, as we
Uh-huh.
know. So,
Yeah.
and now they're
Guy,
even further away.
Yeah, how would we do that?
yeah, Guy, can you send a note about that to Alex, like with a link to
Sure,
this article you're talking about and
sure.
suggest this? Because we're having a meeting Wednesday.
Oh, sure. I'll do it first thing.
Yeah.
And
Could you stop sharing?
What?
Can you stop sharing, Rand?
Okay.
And we're not little tiny boxes.
Sharing your screen, Rand, not your
Yeah,
opinion.
sharing your screen. Yeah,
Oh, I'm
yeah,
crushed.
share yourself. That's fine.
Okay,
And-
now I gotta find it again.
and does everyone know we have a beached whale on the beach?
Yeah,
Okay.
It
yeah.
A little
says,
baby,
who can
a big
share?
baby.
Yeah,
And
big
then
baby.
a
And
large
two dead
humpback
sea
that came up on
lions.
Yahats.
There's a dead sea lion in front of the Chelan, and there's another dead sea lion in front of Missy Moss's parents' house.
Oh, I bet that's thrilling.
Yeah, that was as of today.
Well,
Oh.
Candace posted on the Facebook group that apparently there's a report out from OSU Marine Science Center that they have some kind of a virus that is communicable to pets and humans, so don't go near them. So I think that would be a good note to go out to.
Oh, yeah.
So I still can't, now I can't find where the sharing was.
It's usually down below. I wonder if I can close it. I can't do anything.
Hmm. Yeah, I've got everything's now at the top, not at the
Let me
bottom.
send you a request.
Oh
Maybe you
God.
can answer the request.
Layout, annotate, remote control.
It's not important. That's fine.
All right.
It's fine. I have a public comment too when you have a moment.
Sure, go ahead. Is this working
Um,
better? Is it the us, not the other thing that you're seeing, or are you still seeing the dot?
I'm still seeing your screen share.
Oh, well, maybe I can get it now that it's front and center. So I'll look for it, but go ahead, Nancy.
I just wanted to say, I just want to thank the committee. You guys are doing a terrific job, and this is looking good. I realize it's
Mm.
still in flux and everything, and it'll take a lot more time, but uh, you know, kudos to you guys. I know it's been a slog, and I know you've had to do a lot of things that weren't being planned, that kind of came in along the road, like middle housing and FEMA and all that. But thank you for hanging in there.
Okay, well, we appreciate that. And even though I can't seem to find where it said share and check off share screen, and then it didn't unshare
That,
it.
that's
Somehow
okay. I
I
think
found it previously, but I
we're
can't
done
find it
anyway.
now.
No problem.
Um, well, with that, I think having set the next meeting for December 8th, with the agenda mostly being to review that document at that time to see if it's what input we have at that time, that will be our next agenda and our next meeting. So with that,
Rand, could we hope to see that document 24 hours in advance?
we can hope. Yes, I
Okay.
encourage you to hope for it.
Okay. I'm hoping. Thank you.
Okay.
Rand, would you like to talk for you and me to talk, and I can show you how to set up the meeting folders so you can add those things into the event page?
Okay. Sure. Yeah. Let's stay on.
And then you can just send a link out to your committee with a link to the meeting folder, and then they'll have all of it. Plus, people attending can also see them.
See the folder on their,
Mhm.
see the document on their own
Yeah,
screen. Okay.
it's kind of a nice way to do it. Instead of having Candace set up individual things, you just set up a meeting folder, and then you have, anyway, you and I could talk offline about that.
Okay.
Okay, we done?
Look at you, you
You're
did it.
you're free. You're free to
Thank
go.
you.
Thank
Happy
you for
Thanksgiving.
attending.
Happy
Okay.
Thanksgiving, everybody.
Happy
Thank you.
Thanksgiving.
Mhm.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Stay safe out there.
Mhm.
Okay. So Floyd's still here.
Yeah. Anyway, so I think maybe we could set up a time if you're interested, Rand, where I can talk to you about how you set up the folders, but it's getting in on Google Drive and setting up folders in Google Drive.
Oy, oy, oy.
And then you have so like when Tom does a document or you do a agenda or something, I can take you through how we do it. And if you're interested, I don't, if not, don't worry about it. But oh, let's stop recording too. Oh, I think you did. No. Yeah, stop recording.